Hello friends! Welcome to Square Plans. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be doing handmade DIY Christmas cards, and I'll be showing you my process for my Christmas card this year. Also, I'll show you a few examples of ones I've done in previous years. It's something I do every year, just kind of part of my tradition to hand make my cards, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to share it with you. A few of you guys requested seeing it, so I thought it would be a fun thing to share for playing this. To jump in, let's talk about the supplies. So you can do a number of different things. You can get a paper stack of cardstock and use that as the physical card. So for example, if you wanted to make a card out of this, you basically just take the sheet out, measure it to the size of the envelope that you have, and then fold it in half and use that as your card. Most of the cardstocks that come out in the holidays are single-sided like this, where there's white in the inside. So that makes it easier for you to use it as a card, because then the inside's blank and you can write whatever greetings or tidings you want to put inside the card that way. So that's one way. You can also pre-buy these kind of value pack cards from your local craft store or online. I got this one from Michael's, and this year I decided to pick craft paper, color or texture. It comes with both pre-cut cards with a score down the middle and then envelopes as well. So that's what I'm going to be using for this card, and like I said, I got it from Michael's. I'll try to put all the supplies that I used for this year in the description below, so that you guys can, recreate this exact card if that's what you want to do, or, at least find some of the supplies to make your own. So you need some cardstock probably and paper. So the cardstock itself is also good for the design. So just having a nice pack of different colored Christmas papers is nice, or you could just get some open stock cardstock for the kind of background color design for your card. A few other things that I like to have are some embellishments, like some packs like this where they have like die cuts, things like that you can use. Those are also great to have on hand. These are also great kind of embellishments, the ones that are a little bit more like 3D textured. I am showing you guys this because they are really cute on cards. However, when mailing, it's always a problem for me. So I've done this a lot in years past. This year I just decided not to do it at all. And I'm not doing anything with like any kind of bumps or that's got layered texture, because the mailbox or the post office will kick it out or charge you like $3 a card. And it's crazy. I'll show you a few real quick examples when I'm done here and kind of show you what I did to try to help with that. But just beware, if you're going to be mailing cards, bigger embellishments cause problems. I like to also have some washi or ribbon. I'm showing you these because I used actually all 4 of these on the card this year. But any kind of washi, ribbon, something with another layer of texture is always fun. So think about that, getting some fun colors that match with the design you want to do for the year. Punches is another thing that's kind of fun. Circle punches are great. They're really basic and can be used in a number of different ways. Or die cuts, if you have those, or a die cutting machine, they're great. I actually repurposed this for this card, so I will be showing you how I did that. I know it's a fall leaf, so it doesn't quite go with Christmas, but you'll see how I repurposed this, and hopefully you like that. Some glue of some sort, either a glue stick, a glue runner. This is a Tombow glue runner, which they have refills for it, so this is how they sell the refills, and then you buy the first one and then you just use the refills together with that, and so you keep this piece, and it's a little bit cheaper that way. The first one's usually a little more expensive. Now I can't get it back together. There we go. The first one's a little more expensive with this casing, but then the refills are a little bit more affordable. I usually get mine at Michael's, and I use a coupon almost always, or on a Black Friday type sale, and get like the 4-pack of refills, and that usually lasts me throughout the year. So this is great to have some kind of glue, something to stick things down, but a glue stick will work fine, even Elmer's glue if you have a light touch. So think about that. some other things. I like to have some string. Again, it's just kind of like another layer of texture and fun. Baker's twine always looks really cute. Jute cord in like brown or red, always a really good choice. I've just had these for a long time, and so when I see them on sale, or like this one that was $1, I think at Target, I pick them up, put them in my stash, so I'm always ready to go by the time the holiday season rolls around. A couple more things. I like these little puff sticky dots, basically. So basically it just gives your card a little bit more rise in texture. These are great to have. I have some circles and some mini circles there from the dollar store. I actually got this at like 99-cent store, dollar store. I think it was a pack of 3 of these at the dollar store, or maybe like 2 or 3 of these. That's the cheapest place I found to get them, but you can get them at craft stores as well. They just tend to be a little bit more expensive. But I have some, and I've had these in my stash again for a while. These ones I bought this year, but the other ones I've had for a number of years, and I've used them over and over. So another great way to kind of embellish your card a little bit. And I know this is a lot of supplies. Honestly, if you are just starting out, you don't need everything, but I'm just going to show you how you can make your card more interesting using all of these different elements, and then you can taper it down to what you have in your stash and make it work for you. Finally, one of the things I like to do on all my cards is use photo corners. This is kind of like my little hidden embellishment hack. I got these ones, I believe, at Hobby Lobby, and they're almost gone, but basically they're little sticky corners that you put on the edges of, square or rectangular objects. Really cute, and I'll show you how I use those this year. Okay, so I've kind of gone over all of the supplies that are fun and useful for making cards. Let's show you what we're gonna make. So this year, this is my card for the holiday season. I did kind of like 2 versions. I did one with a red backing and then one with a white backing, and I did all of the things I kind of mentioned there. I have backer washi tape, I have the string, I have the photo corners, I have the paper stock, the card, the embellishment, if you will, and I also use a little puffers on this so they kind of bounce up off the background. I'm really excited about this year. I decided again that I wasn't going to use any embellishments. I'll get into how we're going to make this in just a sec, but let me show you a few that I did last year and kind of talk about the embellishment issue that I've had in the past. Here are a few of the cards that I've done. So you can kind of see how much variety you can get out of your cards if you use a different styling, but of the same kind of thing. I don't really change my formula all that much. I do like to have the backgrounds with layered, if I can, some kind of embellishment, washi, photo corners, string. So I reuse those kind of things all the time, and usually try to find something interesting each year to be the focus of the card. So these guys here, these and this and this, all are really cute on the card, but like I said, they really cause problems with the post office. In years past, what I've done is, if you want to put embellishments on your card, I've used a little cutout of bubble wrap paper and kind of helped layer it on top of the card as I put it into the envelope. That helps. Not 100%, but it definitely helps if your post office is, not too particular. But as you can kind of see, that bell just kind of pops out right there, and so anything that when they run it through the machine will catch on it. Sometimes they'll just kick it out, and one year I had them like basically just deliver all my cards back to me, and I was super frustrated. So just be aware of that. But like I said, these cards all kind of have a similar through line, if you will, of layered things, embellishments, and just trying to make things look cute. Okay, so I just want to kind of show you guys some examples and then talk about that whole mailing problem that I've had in years past. It's really a headache. All right, back to making this year's card. So like I said, I made kind of 2 versions, and the way that I always do things is I do an assembly line because I send out 20 to 30 cards every year, and there's just no way to do it one by one for me because I have so many people I send them to. I mean, I know some people have a lot more than that, but 20 or 30 handmade cards is a lot of work. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking about doing it. So I always do an assembly line. First step that I did this year was the Gingerbread Man. And like I said, you can use die cuts. Let me grab the die cuts. You can use die cuts like this. This year I had actually bought this guy to use from Michaels. Michaels has these in stock. So I originally started with this as my idea. I had bought these ones 3 or 4 years ago at Hobby Lobby to use with cookie swapping boxes that I had, but I didn't have enough to do all of the cards this year, so I didn't end up using him, or else I would have, because I think he would have fit really nicely. I liked him. This one I liked in theory. I liked the idea of him, but he looked a little too happy and a little bit too, I don't know. The shape of him is a little bit, so that was one reason why I was like, I don't know about him. And so I bought him, I tried him out with what I wanted to do, and it wasn't working for me. If you don't want to put in the time that I'm about to show you I did, these are great options. Looking for some kind of die cut too would work really great if you want a gingerbread in particular. So what I actually ended up doing was tracing out just a gingerbread man on some older cardstock that I had, cutting him out and using him as a stencil. So basically what I did is I cut out my stencil when I got it to the shape that I wanted, and then I went and grabbed a number of the cards from my pack because I wanted everything to match the same brown. So I used a card from the pack. You can kind of see that this brown's a little bit off because this one was an older version that I had. And I took him, and I could get about 4 of him on a sheet. Oops. And hand cut him. And of course his foot would have been there. And then and there you go. So then I would do him. So I did about 4 across, top and bottom. So I got about 8 off of a card, and I did 24 cards this year. So I did 3 sets of these. Because I'm a little extra, I cut him out from each card, and it did take a minute to do. And basically what I did is I just did all this ahead of time. I set up in front of my TV and just got all comfy cozy and was playing something in the background and cut him out. I did all of this process. The only place where it was a little bit tricky to cut with scissors was right here and across the middle in this little tight space. So for that I ended up using like a blade type tool. You can use an X-Acto knife, but I use my precision cutter from Slice, which I really like, and just like cut that part like that by hand, but the rest I could do with scissors pretty well. So I did 24 of those, and then once I was done with that, yes, I know, I grabbed a Jelly Roll white pen and basically just kind of drew the little embellishments on them. So I would, do this and give them little icing hands and feet. That one was really bad because I'm doing it on camera and fast. I took a little bit more time with the one I did. Just gave him some eyes. The reason I ended up doing this because I really wanted him to have an O, like a shock mouth versus a kind of happy mouth. So that's the reason why I ended up deciding to do it myself. If I had a die cut machine, I would have been really awesome, but I did not. So I just did it by hand, and that's really handmade. I made his little bow tie, and that was just a rectangle and 2 kind of triangles on the edge, really simple, and then circle, circle, circle for some buttons. And that's it. Really simple. Make sure they dry a little bit because you don't want it to smear. And then when I was done, I had a bunch of the little gingerbread men ready to go. Actually, let me cut him out real quick because I'll use him to show you how I did the next part. Okay, one of the things I forgot to mention too is that you want to draw the pencil lines on the side that you're not going to be writing on, so you don't have to erase them. But because I didn't really think this through before I did this for you guys, let me just erase the pencil marks too. You'd want to put the stencil on the flip side of where you're going to actually draw the items for the, the face and all that good stuff with the white pen. I cut out 24 of these little guys and drew his little suit on. And then next, what I thought was kind of fun is because I really wanted him to have like a little broken leg, and I have this leaf punch in my stash, and I thought, well, that would be super cute if I could, break off his leg with the leaf punch. So what I did is I kind of positioned it so that it looked not like a leaf, but tried to get it so that I would only be cutting off a little bit with the edges of the leaf, and just kind of, took my time to make sure that it didn't cut off anything else on the foot. That is one of the key things to think about. But then I would just punch it. And there you go. And I just think it turned out super cute with this punch in hand. But of course you could do this with scissors or anything like that. But I just thought that that was perfect little break point using this kind of medium-sized, well, I guess 1-inch leaf as an edge. It really just made a perfect cut. Anyway, this is one option. You don't have to do this extra step either, and you can draw him with a happy face. Again, other options are available to you, but this was the design I decided on for this year. The next step in the process was to prepare the backgrounds. So what I tend to do is look through my cardstock. I try to find cardstock that matches with, the color scheme that I want to do. Some cardstocks have more of an antique-y look or vintage. Some have, more brights and fun. Some are more modern color schemed. This one was very traditional Christmas basic, and this was the best one I found this year that I felt like I can use. I got this one at Hobby Lobby, and I got it, I think, at 50% off. They were having a, Christmas supply sale earlier in the year, so I grabbed this guy. When I was picking out the background, I really liked the red, simple, kind of like snow-covered background a lot for this part of the card, for the very front-facing piece. So I did the same thing. I used all of the red that they had in here. The other ones were too busy, the other red options. So keep that in mind. Sometimes simpler is better. The snowflakes might have worked, but I thought that they were busy too. And so I liked the red with the brown most. Second most was this white dot pattern, which it was great for a nice clean background, but the only thing I didn't like was that I had white that I was going to use here on the side, and it would have been nice to have a little bit more contrast. But that was the second best option here. Again, kind of more of a simple look behind it. Even plain cardstock would have worked well. So what I ended up doing is measuring out the size that I want my card to be at. For the cards that I purchased from Michael's, they are 6.5 by 5. 6.5 by 5. So I want to bring in the background on this card in particular because I'm going to be using those photo corners. I want to bring it in about 1/4 inch on each side, which is 1/2 inch all around. So that would mean that this would be 6 by 4.5. I went through the stack and I picked out the colors that I wanted for this bigger background, and then I did the same thing for the smaller one as well. So that one ends up being 4 by 5.5. Basically 1/2 inch off each time, each layer. So you can see a little bit of the background, but it's not, too much or too little as well. So I went ahead and pre-cut all those papers, like I said. I was doing, all the cards, so I just basically took this paper, which is 8.5 by 11, and cut as many as I could out of each one. For the bigger ones, I could only get 2. And then for the smaller ones, I could get, I think, 3 or 4. So 2 bigger ones out of the cardstock there. And then on the smaller ones, like I said, I could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you have a 12 by 12 pack, you could probably get even more since they are 6, or less than 6 across. There's 6 across for the bigger ones, but for this 8.5 by 11 one, it was a little bit less. I cut all of these cards first, and then I cut all of these ones second, or the opposite, whatever worked, till I got a good pattern. And then when I was looking for the papers, I was looking for ones that would combine well. So again, like the red, I was using more of the white and green backgrounds, and then the ones with the white, I was looking for the solid red or solid green backgrounds if I could find them. That's the kind of combination I was looking for, and I cut accordingly. So finally, have all of these cut. The next step was to put on the washi tape. Just some simple washi tape just adds another little dimension of pattern and fun, and of course you want it to be in the color scheme you're working with. So I did basic red and green. I had this fabric washi tape that I have had in my stash for a really long time and never used, so it was a really great way to kind of use it up this year. I put some on the white, and then on the red I felt like there wasn't going to be enough green tie-in, so I used the green for a majority of those. And basically I just put a strip kind of near the top across as a base, and just again to add more color and pattern. So I went ahead and did all of that on each, and I was very sparing. I didn't really put a lot of extra on the back, just enough to kind of seal the edges, and that was that next step. After the washi tape was on, the next step was to put on the string. I pre-cut these as well, and I just kind of measured 1 for the first time, so I kind of started on the back, and then I wanted to do a double loop so it crossed in the front and have enough to tie it off in the back. So that should be good, maybe like right there. And basically I just did that and tied a little knot. The more string you give yourself, the better. You could also just tape it down. I tend to do a knot for some reason. And that's usually works really well. Try not to put too much tension so that the card doesn't bow like this one is doing right now. And I happened to make a slip knot by mistake. That worked out so that I could get rid of the bow. But anyway, so just kind of make it small so that you can layer it on top. You can also, like I said, tape it down if you want it in a very specific place, but it doesn't really matter for these. So I basically pre-cut all of the strings first and then just tied them all around in assembly line fashion until I was done. The next step is to layer these two together. And for this step, you just need some Tombow runner or some other kind of glue that will stick down. You want to put a little bit on one side so you can get the alignment right first, and then you can glue down the rest. That's usually the easiest way. And I just eyeball it. It's a handmade card. If they're expecting perfection, then they really don't deserve your card. So it's going to go like that, lay it down, and kind of seal the deal there. And now I'll go back and do the other side, just putting a little bit on the edges so it sticks down and across the bottom. And you're good to go. So there's your nice base. That step's done, and you do all of these, so then you have little, sets ready to go as well. The next step would be to put on the photo corners. Like I said, I've already kind of used these photo corners up, so I only have 2 to show you, but I'll show you an example. And then you need your card as well. So if you have the pre-designed cards, you can just fold them in half along the score mark and you're ready to go, or you can cut them to the size that you want first and then maybe use like a blunt edge, like your scissors closed or something, to score it down the middle first to help with the bending, and then do the card like that. Anyway, so you want to have your card ready, and then you're going to put them together. I'm gonna kind of really fold this guy so that it doesn't bubble up too much. And you just kind of see what your placement's going to be. And this year I'm doing it horizontal, so it would be something like this. And then I just stick the corners on. I would actually stick the corners on before placing it. You can do it either way. You can stick like 1 or 2 first, find out where you want it to be, and then make an adjustment. Basically, you would do something like this. And with all 4 corners, you don't need to have extra glue because it kind of sticks in there. And I mean, if they want to take your card apart, they will, but you don't need it. But when you have 2 like this, you can still do it with 2. I think it looks cute, but you might want to glue down the edges that aren't in the corners just to kind of secure the card a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We've got that part done. And again, I do this assembly line order, so the cards don't come together until the very end, but it's really a nice way to get a whole bunch done at once. You're just kind of doing the same thing over and over. It goes faster. So I have that. Next, we're going to put together our little gingerbread man. So we've got the 2 pieces here. So for him, I used just the bigger circle, and then for his leg, I used the smaller circle puff. We've got these here. Again, you could just glue him straight down. You don't need to have this little extra, but I kind of like the dimension on the card. It makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. Just do it like this. And you take off the little extra backing. And again, I just kind of eyeballed it. I just wanted him to be somewhat centered with a little extra space for his foot. Voila. And then one of these little circle guys, which you just punch with your hand. Sometimes it's easier to do this part with tweezers. I'll go ahead and use that just because they're kind of small pieces, and put it on the foot. Break off the extra backing, and then you can use those tweezers to kind of get that right placement. And here I just kind of had the foot a little bit askew, so you can kind of see it broke. And that's it. So it's one of those and one of the bigger ones to hold up the gingerbread man, and we're good to go there. And finally, the last area that we were needing is some kind of decoration for a greeting. You can say Merry Christmas or whatever. I wanted, because of this guy, I wanted it to say, "Oh snap," because he snaps his foot and then it's Christmas. I basically designed this on my computer, this little banner. And if you guys really are interested in making this exact card, let me know in the comments. If I get enough interest, I will post up my little "Oh snap" as a free printable if you guys are interested in that. But anyway, I kind of like sampled out of some scrap paper like what I thought I wanted as far as the shape, and I decided on this like banner, which at first I thought was going to go all the way to the top, but I thought no, I want to add a little bit of extra, so kind of brought it down a little bit, and again brought in some brown washi tape because I wanted to bring in more of the brown. There's the brown card and the brown gingerbread man, but there's not really a lot of brown in the patterns or anything that I had in the Christmas basics that I pulled for this year's patterned cardstock. So the idea of having a little bit of brown washi tape here just kind of made it a little extra with the brown, which was nice. The string also has brown in it, which I thought was a good way to keep things just kind of all the color schemes tied together. Basically, I printed this off, I cut them all out, and then also cut, using this guy as a thing, I just kind of used my pencil and drew out this shape, the triangular shape at the bottom for the banner, and then cut those by hand and taped it down. So you could do something similar. You could do it with like a circle punch. That would be kind of cute. And you can do a square punch, just like a rectangular shape, and then hand write it. So like, you know, you could write "Oh snap" or whatever greeting you want. You can stamp it. you know, it's up to you. You could do whatever you want, go back and letter it in, or, you know, before you kind of probably assemble it would be better. But that was the final step. And I just printed this on some basic cardstock I had in my stash. You know, I didn't buy anything else extra. You could also print on the back of the cardstock you bought for this. So like, because it's white on the inside, you could easily use that if you don't have any other white cardstock handy. That is it, you guys. That would be the final card, and this is how they turned out. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer any concerns or questions you have about maybe mailing, because believe me, I've got years of experience in mailing with those embellishments and what works and what doesn't. And, you know, combining patterns. The best thing I can tell you is to keep your color scheme kind of limited, but create lots of fun patterns too along the way. So bringing in little details here and there really makes a difference. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!